What's up, all you sparks out there in the Matrix? This is Chris. I hope everybody's doing good today. It is June, the beginning of June, and things are getting a little tense out there, as everybody can attest to. And that's one of the reasons that I kind of felt compelled to put this video together to kind of remind everybody what's going on, because there's some crazy things going on in the background. And whether we realize it or not, we're playing a part in how this is going to unfold, because there's multiple outcomes, different timelines are going to come out of where we are now. And it's more important now than ever to kind of remind ourselves of these things, which is again is why I'm putting this video together. Um, to remind everybody again that we are, I always say, sparks in the matrix. I open up my videos because that's literally what we are. We're in a matrix. Science pretty much proves this. We're in a collective matrix. Now you can go in a million different directions as to who created it, what the rules are, but we all play a part in it. And the one thing that I keep coming back to, and I've been reminding myself lately, is that how powerful we are, as helpless as we think we are and we're led to believe, that's not the case. Every one of us are souls, and our souls are like so powerful that we have no idea truly how powerful we are, and that every emotion that we have is energy. It emits off of us to the degree, and I'm not going to stray too far off my point, is that that's our number one commodity of archons, of beings, of parasites behind the scenes. Our energy is food, and the more miserable we are and the more helpless we're made to feel, the more negative luge or food of a source we are to these negative beings. And the result is the state of the world that we've been living in for a long, long time. So, what I'm here to remind everybody, especially now, because we are in an ascension process, the shit is hitting the fan. The solar flares, the Schumann resonance, everything is coming up to the surface. That's the Kali Yuga ending. That's the Age of Aquarius beginning. Um, there's a reason that the whole world, earthquakes, tsunamis, tension, it's all over the world. So now, more than ever, it's important for every one of us to kind of realize that no matter where you are as a soul, we need to take a deep breath and not feed into this fear, feed into this chaos, because it's always darkest before the dawn. And I do believe that good things, one way or the other, are going to come from all of this chaos. Possibly different timelines. So I don't want this to sound fearful, but if not for the reason of wanting to be in a higher timeline, is you kind of really need to do self-examination to monitor yourself. Stop worrying about what's going on in the outside world, because that's just a circle of negativity, um, that doesn't do you any good, and it doesn't do the collective matrix, because that's kind of the duality of where we are and what we're in, is that we have our own individual daily experience, which there's a billion different people living a billion different lives. But then there's the collective, which we also feed into. So it's not being selfish. In fact, it's almost mandatory that we need to recognize, first of all, our own power, and take that power back. And a lot of times people don't realize that they give their power away every day to other people, to institutions, to celebrities. The whole worship thing. Even praying to entities and praying to anything other than your higher self and to God is actually giving your power away. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to remind people as well with this video to do, is to stop giving away your energy to anyone and anything, to reclaim it, to take it back. Um, it can be as simple as TV, watching certain programs that make you sad and that kind of pull on your heartstrings and make you feel hopeless or angry, or stop watching them. Because every time, you see, the Matrix doesn't care about sarcasm. If you're being sarcastic or really don't mean something, it doesn't matter. You're saying it, you're putting it out there. If you're watching a movie, let's say about the apocalypse, about the end of the world, they can call it science fiction. Oh, it's fake and everything. Well, for that 2 hours that you're watching that you as a creator being are putting your energy into that and buying into that story, which we all do, you're actually helping to create that future for humanity. And so I know it sounds like it's just a movie, or even songs. I used to, oh my God, I used to listen to those songs that would pull on your heartstring and just kind of, and it might feel okay for a few minutes to kind of purge it, but ultimately it's not a good thing to do, to revisit things like that. So I've made other videos and I'm reminding everybody to stop watching any kind of programming that has any kind of negativity to it. I don't care if it's sci-fi, I don't care if it's a horror movie, I don't care if whatever it is, if it emits a negative emotion, you're putting that out there. And that's going to actually come back to you in a certain way. So try to just watch uplift. And I know, listen, and this is tough. If you go on Netflix or you go on some of these pay sites, or even some of these free sites, they're not doing you any favors. You're hard pressed to find anything that's not negative or depressing. And if you think that whatever twist or apocalyptic scenario they're presenting, that's called predictive programming. And I mean, and sometimes it's right in front of us, it's in plain sight. I mean, programming. They call them programs because that's what they're doing. They're programming us to create a future that we don't want. So when you really start looking at things that way, you'll stop watching all of the negative things. You'll stop listening to anything. To be honest with you, whenever I can, I listen to reaction videos of the Bee Gees, "Too Much Heaven," because it's just so positive and it's got so much love behind it, and it's got so much of a beautiful energy of the male and female energy connected to each other, that it uplifts me. And because I'm in the process of trying to actually attract a divine relationship, a divine feminine relationship, I'm not watching and listening to any of this music that degrades women or empowers men in a dominant way. And so I keep going back again to the song "Too Much Heaven" by the Bee Gees, because I feel that it not just represents the tone and emotion of what most people, I believe, would like in a relationship, but it puts it out to the collective and it also attracts it back to me. So I'll get back to you on that to see if that's working. So the sad truth to the matter is that in some way, shape, or form, we all give some of our power away. We do have more control than we realize. It's the difference in staying in a victim mentality or an empowered mentality. So you have to stop being a victim, because when you're a victim, you keep giving your power away. When you start to get pissed off and angry at the system, at the way things are, at the upbringing that you had, at the this happened to me, that happened to me. As soon as you kind of come to terms with that and just deal with it, so to speak, you take your power back. Okay, so from there, you have to have a positive outlook about it. like the slave debt monetary system. You know, that's set up for pretty much everybody. And that's the sad truth of it, is that um, we were society has been set up so that we're just barely getting by. That we're supposed to stress about our bills. We're supposed to stress about not like our jobs, and just say, well, I'm going to go, to a 40-hour a week job, 40, 50 hours, just to pay my bills. That's not okay. See, we've all collectively bought into that, electricity is free, should be free. Water should be free and clean. Um, Food grows out of the ground. It does grow on trees, but yet people can't afford pretty much to eat, and there are people starving. It shouldn't be that way, but yet it is. And we've all kind of collectively bought into this scarcity. So that's why I believe that the world is upside down right now, is because everybody's waking up. Everybody's waking up, like Neo in the Matrix, and going, wait a second, there's something wrong here. And we all started realizing that, I believe, when COVID came around the first time, and we started being told to, to do this, to do that. It became more obvious that we were kind of being programmed and told what to do. And we're waking up to that. We're realizing that, like, well, wait a second, why are, you know, 3% of the population controlling 97% of the rest of us? It shouldn't be that way. We're being pitted against each other. There is something going on behind the scenes that are keeping our vibrations lower. And you can start with the frequency that the Vatican and the Rockefellers back back in the day decided to turn from 444 hertz to 440 hertz, which is disharmonious to us. It keeps us in a lower vibration. The family unit. That, what, that's the one thing we all have in common in the world, is family, and having meals with each other, and appreciating each other, and the family unit again. That brings us happiness. That's why the whole world, I believe, is waking up right now, and fighting back in ways that we're not even sure why it's happening. So that's kind of the good news. That's where to have hope that this chaos that's going on in the world is leading to a better place. Okay, because we're fighting back against the machine. Um, but it all does start with us individually. So instead of just feeling sad about something, again, in quiet contemplation, think to yourself why you don't just accept I'm sad, just that things are hopeless, that I feel angry, that I feel guilty, that I feel, envious about stuff. Sit with that and figure out why you feel that way about things. Dismantle your own programming and get rid of it, because you can. That's the beauty of it. When you self-analyze why you feel the way you do about certain things, you can process them and deprogram yourself. And in the midst of that, do the things that make you happy. Um, to repeat some of the other videos that I put out there that maybe you can go back and watch. Go into nature. Put your feet on the ground and connect with Mother Earth. Um, Listen to uplifting music. Do something for somebody else. Be of service to somebody. As desperate and bad as your situation might be, I promise you there's somebody's situation that's worse than yours. And you'd be amazed that instead of going like this, and, well, not going to do that until I do it, that's even more of a reason to do it right now. If you know somebody that's homeless, bring them a sandwich. If you have two sandwiches left, bring them one of your sandwiches, and watch how good that makes you feel. And that's powerful again. And you know what? Then that goes out. Your act of charity actually goes out, and then you start to open up abundance energies to come back to you. That's how it works. So don't accept all of the negative feelings and beliefs that you have. Analyze them. It's called detached witness. It's understanding that as soon as we're born into these rules and regulations and things that we just blindly accept and adopt. Um, Republican, Democrat, that's bullshit. It's different sides of the same coin. Um, Different people with different religions, different belief systems, different colors of their skins. We're all, pitted against each other, and that, and I believe that that's again by design, but we don't have to accept that. We can realize that, you know what, I don't care if it's a Chinese family, a Pakistani family, or an American family. Everybody at the end of the day cares about their children and wants to have a nice, peaceful, house and eat clean food and not have to worry about, paying their bills or paying for energy, which, by the way, should be free. Our water should be clean. Our medical system should be a lot different than it is. And if you've noticed, a lot of those things are crumbling down. That's the beauty of the age of Aquarius. You see, a lot of people think, oh, the age of Aquarius, it's people dancing around with long hair, smoking weed, and just blindly loving each other. It's like, no, age of Aquarius is badass. It shines a light on everything negative and brings it out into the open and doesn't let it hide anymore. And actually, that's what's going on. That's why Epstein Island was finally uncovered. That's why the Diddy tapes in Hollywood and all of the satanic ritual sacrifices and shit that's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of, if not thousands of years, are coming to the surface. It's not all of a sudden going to get better like that. We're going to have to go through the storm to get to the good side. But if you look at it that way, that we're kind of, you know, the earth, Mother Earth is purging herself of all of the evil, all of the negativity, all of the toxins that have been in her and in us for all of these generations. It's like food poisoning. I don't know if you've ever had food poisoning, but man, it's like you just want death to come. But what happens as soon as you purge all of those poisons out of you? You know, it's like you feel like $1 million. You come back to life. And so that's what I truly believe is happening right now, is that literally on every front, you know, we're going through a purging process, with the solar flares, with the volcanoes, with um, the horrible things that are going to be coming to light right now. Try to keep that in mind, that it's not the end. It's actually the beginning of something bigger and better. But it all starts with us individually. So become a detached witness to yourself and make yourself a better person. Make you again 24/7. We're never going to be just positive, happy, love, and light. It doesn't work that way. You have to almost get pissed off and angry and go through that negativity and cry and scream and rage, but do it constructively. Do it with a more of a detached witness again and figure out where that came from. Why do I feel that way? Who taught me to feel that way? And this is how generations collectively are broken out of certain systems. The Hatfields and the McCoys. They were killing each other for stuff that happened 3 generations earlier. They didn't even know why they were doing it. So that's kind of what's going on right now, or what you can do. You can start to break personal patterns. You can break family patterns of abuse, of neglect, of anger, of alcoholism, of drug use, whatever it is. We have that power, each one of us. So reclaim your power, question everything, and then actively go about changing these things. Like I said, stop listening and watching certain things. Stop hanging out with people that bring you down. Start collectively, stop putting toxins in your body. Stop drinking. Stop smoking. Stop gambling. Stop staring at your phone, which, by the way, has 5G coming out of it, which is toxic to us. Stop watching TV all the time. Go into nature. Um, Start doing hobbies. No one can just quit their job and start going out and paint. I get that. But Are you doing anything in between that to make yourself happy, to go back to your inner child and remember what you did do that made you happy and try to build off of that? Again, it's the small victories within ourselves that start to push things the other way, that start to ripple out, and again collectively start to change anything. So I don't want to go on too long because everyone's got short attention spans. Please comment, like, and share this video. I rarely say that, but this is really crunch time right now. You know, the negative behind the scenes are kicking and screaming, and they're pushing all of the buttons that they have left to push. But I do believe the light is winning, and that all of these things wouldn't be happening in the background if we weren't moving in a potentially more positive timeline, or at least I plan on being on the highest timeline possible. All right, all you sparks out there in the matrix, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and hold on tight, because I believe by the end of this summer, definitely by the end of this year, we could be looking at a lot of beautiful, wonderful things beginning once we start to purge all of this negative stuff that we're going through right now. Okay. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.